So, folks, big news in the housing market and mortgage market over the last 48 hours, and that is the biggest from 2019, the biggest originator of home loans, Wells Fargo, has decided, for all intents and purposes, to exit the business. So I just had to ask Matt, the mortgage guy, what does it mean? Does this mean some ominous signs for housing and mortgage? Is this a sign there's not enough food to eat? Or is this just a business decision by Wells Fargo that they want to focus their time and energy somewhere else? Matt, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Mike, and there's no twisting it like mortgage market, real estate market. There's some some cuts going on. There's some change happening, and so it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But before you said it, I was thinking in my head, business decision really is what it is for Wells, and without knocking Wells too much, because I tend to knock banks. I just don't think they're the best place for the average consumer to get a loan because they're not that good at it. They've got old antiquated systems that, one, don't work. Two, it's not a great client experience because for a millennial buying a house or an investment property, working with systems from the 1970s isn't pleasurable. Yeah. And so I think that over time, big antiquated bank systems, continuing to, fail and not be a huge revenue driver, they're like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing something we're not good at that doesn't make us a lot of money when we can do other stuff that we might, have a competitive advantage in and that we're good at? And if they're good at opening up credit card accounts and they make a lot more money doing that, or they're good at, other things, then, to me, it's a business decision. It is a little bit of a sign of the times with consolidation, with, people making business decisions. I think that, a lot of stuff that I'm seeing in the mortgage industry from like a pure business standpoint, you think to yourself, people have seen this before, right? And rather than bleed for 2 years or have a bunch of pain, they're like, you know what? We can see where this is going. We prefer not to, struggle and try to, keep this sinking ship afloat for another 6 or 12 months. Let's cut ties now. Let's focus elsewhere. And, in Wells Fargo's world, they've got more than just mortgage lending, right? Yeah. And so they'll keep it open and they'll have, their own in-house mortgage lending for their clients, but I think what they shut down was like the correspondent lines and probably some of the stuff that was being brokered to them, which, they won't be missed, Mike.
No,
I'll tell you that.
Yeah. When I look at this is really a sign that Charlie Sharp, who's the CEO of Wells Fargo, is making that business decision. There's less to eat in mortgage today, without question. Fair. They're not exiting the business entirely, right? They will keep what I will call a boutique arm in the business, right, for their wealth clients, private clients, which will allow them to spin this back up should things get better in 5 or 6 years, right? It's not like they're exiting the business entirely. But also, as a CEO, Charlie, his job is to take care of the shareholders. And right now, if there's not a lot of food on the table, he can either compete on price, which is not where Wells Fargo shines because they're not the cheapest operator. They're not the fastest. They're not very good at it. So it's not something they can win. Could they do it? Could they trudge through it? Sure. They're big enough that it's not going to take them out, but it would be a stupid move. There are mortgage providers that do everything online, that, millennial experience that you referenced, and they just do it cheaper and faster. So why compete there? And then, oh, by the way, I've seen this movie before. There's less to eat. I suspect Wells Fargo inside of 18 months buys one of these providers for pennies on the dollar. And he will get the technology, he will get the systems and processes so that he's ready to go forward. So again, I think he's playing 4-dimensional or 3-dimensional chess. He's getting out of the way now. He's going to take, because I think they report earnings Friday. He's going to announce a big head cut. He's going to right size the ship. He's going to focus on bigger margin business. And he knows, because he's been around the block, he'll pick somebody up for 20 cents on the dollar in 9 to 18 months, and he'll look like a genius. That's what I think's going on. That's the 3D chess move I see.
Yeah, I think so. And, just, for people that haven't been paying attention or don't realize, how tough of an environment it is for mortgage right now. I talked to somebody yesterday, been in the mortgage industry for 4 decades, 40 years, has really, great knowledge about all the different mortgage sectors, retail, banking, mortgage broker, and currently works for a retail bank, and not a small one. They do well, multiple billions per year in originations. And this is the current environment we're in. He was really, really proud of the fact that they're breaking even right now. Right. And so like when that's the environment we're in, is where, there's a lot of mortgage providers right now that I think are trying to weather the storm and are hoping for sunshine ahead. Right. And so Wells Fargo just said, no, thanks.
No,
Doesn't sound
that's
like,
no fun. We don't want to do that.
And so it's interesting. What I don't want people to hear is something I heard this morning. Our buddy Patrick Bet-David, and I love that guy, and he's got great insight and a lot of stuff. Talking to somebody, and they're having a straight-faced conversation about how mortgage origination is down 87%. It's not. You can't look at just the refinance. Of course, refinance is down 87%, pal.
Yeah, I heard that interview. I watched it, or I listened while I was on my run yesterday, and I'm like, man, he's doing it again. He's taking pieces of data and using them incorrectly.
Imagine if I took a piece of his insurance business and something changes with a life insurance product, and I'm like, insurance sales down 94%. Because they discontinued something, right? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. And again, in fairness, Patrick didn't say it. Somebody else did, and he didn't have the details. So he said it he repeated it. But yeah, mortgage origination is down about 30%. Refinances are down 87%. But oh, by the way, I just read this morning, week on week, refis were up 5%. Why? Rates dipped. Shocking. Rates matter.
Right.
So at the end of the day, last thing on Wells Fargo, do you think the average consumer misses Wells Fargo from the mortgage market? Do they even notice?
No. I mean, because I think that like the data will show you too, that banking institutions are doing less and less mortgage.
Yeah. They're not,
right?
They're not cheap. They're not fast. They're not great. They're just bad at it. So again, congrats to Charlie Sharp. I'm out of a business. It's very expensive. Going to have lower top line. My bottom line already sucks. I'm going to go do something else. He's a genius as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Got to give credit where credit is due. Not a big fan of banks, but there's some folks up top that know what they're doing.
And again, I think his 3D chess move is in 9 to 18 months, he will buy somebody and plug that gap for 20 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
possibly.
folks,
yeah, I was going to say I've talked to a couple people at these big banks, and I think over the last decade or 2 decades, they've tried those moves. We're like, we're just going to buy the technology and buy that. And then like the implementation of it just,
doesn't work.
$100 million down the drain or whatever. Like somebody told me that recently that came from B of A or Wells or something. So I don't know. We'll see.
It could happen. I mean, if you got to plug into the back systems, that's where it all breaks, right? You've got to do it a different way. And that's why all these Rocket Mortgage and the like exist, because it's a push of a button. So if somebody wanted to get a mortgage and maybe they were thinking about going to Wells Fargo, but now that's not an option, where should they go, Matt?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. That's a direct connect to me and my team. We're licensed nationwide. Quick and easy form, greatmortgagebroker.com.
Thank you so much.